So BSG have released patch 15.2 this morning. The game is currently down at the moment. We have the patch notes which we'll go through. Just as a reminder, this doesn't actually appear on the roadmap. This would be here actually before the beginning of the roadmap. So I don't know why they didn't add it here, but whatever. We've got the patch notes now, so let's get going. On the list of changes, the first one that we have here is map-to-map travel update. Now we did actually get previously this where they said update 15.2, the in-game marathon event will be completed and the unique achievement will be available despite the end of the event, and there's some quests that are changing and the transitions between the locations are also being adjusted. So this is the details of what they're actually going to do. So the transitions between the locations are now available in every raid as well as in PvE. Transitions between locations available for player scavs, and they've added these new transits: streets to ground zero, interchange to streets, blah 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 blah. So what might be quite interesting is to look at the actual map itself and to figure out what they've added, because I think these ones are only the ones that they've changed. So now we have Streets of Tarkov, so we have Streets of Tarkov back to ground zero. So if you remember, originally you could go to ground zero streets, labs and streets are the only ones that are interchangeable. Then you could go from streets to interchange, customs, factory, so you could only go this one way around. Now it looks like they've probably added them all back the other way, so you could go streets back to ground zero. Now I don't know whether these are going to be the same as the way that you get in. It might be, or it might be different. We'll have to see. Interchange to streets, this is backwards as well. Customs to reserve, which is one that we actually don't have on the map at the moment. We then have customs to interchange, which is just a reversal. Factory to customs, which is, again, is a reversal, so that just fixes that one. Factory to lab, this is another one that we don't have. This is one of the ones that they said they were going to do for a long time, so it'll be interesting to see where that is. I think this might be down in that little sewers bit. I think you might end up in labs via the sewers, but we're going to have to see. Then we've got woods back to factory, because that's just the opposite direction. Then we've got woods to lighthouse, so you can actually skip across here and come straight to lighthouse, interestingly. Reserve to customs, so that's a reverse of the new one that they've added here. And we've got reserve to woods as well, which just goes back on itself. Lighthouse to reserve, which is this way. Lighthouse to woods, which is this way. And shoreline to lighthouse, which is this way. Main maps that are now going to be connected to various places is reserve seems to be connected to lighthouse, woods, and customs. And then you've also got factory, which is connected to labs, woods, and customs. And then customs itself is connected to factory, reserve, and interchange. And then interchange just to customs and streets. And then Streets of Tarkov, which has got ground zero, labs, and interchange on it like it did previously. So this is quite interesting. You could do like smaller loops on this now. You can go from Streets of Tarkov to interchange to customs to factory to the lab and then back out again. So you can potentially do those loops. And then there's some little loops around here like customs, factory, woods, reserve, and then back to customs. This is like a lot more accessible than having to do the whole thing, which is kind of cool. I don't really know what changes this is going to make to the actual achievement, but we're just gonna have to see. This is cool though. I like this. Now there's some important stuff that they've added here. So transit activation time has been reduced to 1 minute after the start of the raid. This is so much better than the 7 minutes that we had previously, because it just meant you were spending so long just like waiting around if you did just want to do this transit. Some marathon event tasks as well as the marathon achievement have been adjusted but remain available for completion. So let's just see when we get into game exactly what that means. But I haven't completed the achievement yet because it just was going to take too long. I did one full run of Fences Quest and died on the very last map. I just didn't really have the heart to spend 3 hours to do it again. Next we have Mortar Strikes. A new in-game event, Mortar Strike, has started. The locals have found a stockpile of mortars and are now regularly shelling open terrain from safe positions. So during the event, the following locations will be targeted by mortar fires. We have customs, woods, shoreline, and reserve. These are most of the maps that Partisan is on, actually. Mortar attacks occur in both PvP and PvE and the practice mode. I guess maybe you can turn it on or not, or I don't know whether it's just on by default. Scav, bosses, and other bots react appropriately when mortar attacks start. Reacting appropriately, presumably meaning running. Add a new task line for the in-game event, and players will be able to obtain unique rewards related to the event for completing the task. A special equipment item that warns about the start of the mortar fire in advance to help avoid dangerous areas, which is quite cool. A special consumable item that initiates mortar fire at the player's position. This is kind of insane. Players will receive a unique achievement as a reward for finishing the task line, available only during the event. Kind of cool. I mean, we're gonna have to see exactly how this works out, but I'm just wondering whether you could activate this thing underground, say you're underground in reserve or something, and then you just flick the switch and blow up everybody who's above you, above ground. I'm sure there's going to be some crazy shenanigans that are able to be done with this. AI. Improved Partisan's AI behavior model when traveling long distances and installing tripwires. Improved AI movement routes after taking cover to make them smoother and more diverse. I actually think that BSG have been doing a good job with the AI. Like, I've found scavs in all sorts of places this wipe, and they've been going and deviating away from the routes from places where they normally are. Yeah, you can normally find them in the usual spots, but like sometimes you just get surprised by a scav just like out in the middle of nowhere, and I think this is good. Quality of life improvements. Rubles, dollars, euros, and GP coins no longer have found a raid mark. This is good because it means that you can just drag them into containers and they'll auto stack on each other. You don't have to delete the founding raid mark on purpose, and there's not actually any reason to have any of these. GP coins, I don't know whether any quests still ask for it for dailies or something, but rubles, dollars, and euros, you never need this for dailies or anything, so you could just remove the founding raid mark, and that just makes life a little bit easier. Couple of balancing changes, some new barters for the following items. The Gazelle body armor without ballistic plates on Ragman 3. This is going to make the quest to plant the gazelles way better. These things are running at well over 1 million rubles, and it's because people need them for the quest. There's 2 you need to hand in to Ragman for one of the Soviet goods, and then you also need to plant 2 of them on interchange for another quest. So like every player needs 4 of these things, and you just simply can't buy them. They're only available on the flea, and they drop very, very rarely in games. That's why they were so much money. So this is a good addition. The second one is the 6B 43 Zabralo without ballistic plates on Prapo level 4. This is good because there's a few quests that require you to do stuff with Zabralo. Also means, obviously, if you actually want to use it, then you can, because you're not allowed to buy this thing on the flea market. I think they could probably actually just allow this on the flea. It probably would be okay, to be honest. But it's good that they're adding some of these without ballistic plates to the traders to give you a little bit more variability in terms of what to get. Also, the Gazelle might actually be quite a good armor. Like, it's one of the decent armors in the game, and it's one of the few that takes, you know, like the 6B33 style diamond front plate. So this could be quite good. Increase the amount of compensation for a successful report of a player who violated the EFT license agreement. So basically a cheater report, you're now going to get more money. I saw people getting anywhere from 40k to 100k, and it really was just not enough. It doesn't really compensate you for anything, where even a very basic loadout in this game is 200 to 300,000 rubles. Set the in-raid drop limit for some info items to 3. So this is kind of just rolling back some of the RMT stuff. And then actually they followed on the arena change of the Vulcan. No one really uses this in the base game, but they've reduced the armor class from 6 to 5, the armor points from 99 to 75, lower cost, lower penalties, and increase the spawn chance. This is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know whether it'll be worth using this at all. It's going to partly depend on what these lower wearing penalties actually are. I know not many people really use this because it's only got a class 4 face shield, but you can actually see fully like you can on something like a fast MT visor. So maybe there's something there, but it's interesting that they have actually gone and made the base game the same as Arena. We've actually like followed Arena in on this change, but no one used the Vulcan anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Adjusted the task of Punisher Part 5, the ability to hand over any variation of the AK-74. This actually doesn't really matter because you could just craft it in the hideout. The ability to hand over any variation of the Makarov pistol. This is good because that is actually one huge blocker if people don't realize that you need it. And added the ability to complete the objective using the Packer Soft Armor Rivals Edition. I mean, that just should have been done right from the beginning, so good they've added that. Sparta Part 3, you can add any WD-40, and then Slaughterhouse, which is the one where you have to kill people with melee, added the ability to complete the objective using basically these other melee weapons, so this also should have just been like coded in. I don't know why they just don't like make some things in the background that, you know, categorize these things, so they don't have to like manually add this stuff, but anyway, it is what it is, spaghetti code, right? Replace the ammo given as rewards for various main tasks with a corresponding ammo pack. And then on sound, they've just made some minor changes, occlusion of lamp sounds and door and container sounds in first and third person, and increase the volume of USEC Charlie voice. Now, there's a few other changes here. Some of them are actually impactful. Fix certain cases with the inability to hear the sounds of grenades bouncing off obstacles. There's lots of people who are complaining about silent grenades this wipe and last wipe, but this wipe it hadn't been fixed. Improved the display of the item list when attempting to sell a container or weapon with mods that are unavailable to sell to traders. And then we've got this. This is actually really impactful. Fix the MP43 1C double barrel shotgun reload, causing animations to freeze and display incorrectly in third person. I thought this maybe was more wider reaching when I first read it, because actually all of the double barrels just give you massive problems. Maybe this is going to fix it, but half the time you end up with the busy hands bug, your weapon won't shoot, all sorts of stuff. So if you've been having issues with the game and you're having busy hands and stuff, just make sure that you weren't using the double barrel shotgun. I've had a couple of people who've asked me in my chat when I've been streaming about this, saying I'm having like real issues. I'm like, just make sure you don't use the double barrel shotgun. I tried to use it on Lighthouse to go and do scav kills, and I ended up with the same problem. My main gun wouldn't shoot and everything got stuck, and even Alt F4 doesn't fix it. You have to literally leave the raid. Hopefully this fixes that. I know some people were trying to do hell on earth, so they were killing cultists with a double barrel shotgun, and they were having those problems. That was the reason why. They didn't realize it was the shotty. So hopefully this is fixed. Otherwise, just be kind of careful about these double barrels. Fix freezing when quick dropping a backpack whilst weapon mounted on obstacle or bipod. Fix teleporting after jumping over bar while sprinting. I never saw this one myself. Incorrect display of gain experience on the post-race screens. Various issues. Some clothing that was missing. Instances of errors appearing in the hideout. Fix the leveling of intelligence skill by crafting items in the hideout. I'm not sure what this one exactly was. Fix an issue causing bots not to respond to player scav's commands. Fix the sound of dropping a backpack in first person. I think it was actually missing this. Fix the incorrect calculation of equipment weight when transferring containers to the inventory. Hopefully this has fixed all the backpack weights and things, because a lot of them were really weird this wipe. Fix the incorrect text loading on weapon mastery. Fix the clipping of smoke balaclava with the optical helmet straps. Fix the ballistic plate compatibility with the Stitch Profi Defense Mod 2 plate carrier and the plate carrier V2 Black. These two, you could put back plates in the front. So basically, BSG just hadn't categorized which plates were allowed in which slots on these. They were just completely open, so you could put any plate in them at all. Now that's not the case, apparently. Fix the bullet velocity value for 12.7 by 55. This is the Ash 12. I actually don't know exactly what was wrong with this, so I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. Fix the examine by default setting for certain ammo packs. So I guess like regular ammos will already be examined by default. Probably not things like SSAP, but something like 9x19 PBP will be shown by default. Fix the incorrect collision when a grenade hits a player or bot after taking damage. So there we have it. I mean, this is interesting. We're going to be checking out what's going on map-to-map travel. I'll probably do some stuff on my stream today if the game's actually back up in enough time for me to actually go and do a stream. Otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed getting you up to date. As always, a big shout out to all my patrons. And as usual, have fun in your raids.